Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and welcome back to another Monday. Hopefully, you had an amazing weekend. Joining me, as always, is my talented and beautiful co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome to all of our listeners. I have some really fun Thanksgiving facts for you. First things first, did you know historians actually think that the original Thanksgiving was in October, not actually in November?
Interesting.
So technically, the abouts times that Canadians celebrate Thanksgiving, which is in October, is closer to the original. They actually think that President Lincoln put Thanksgiving in November to coincide more with the Plymouth Rock landing. Now, more fun facts for Thanksgiving for you. There's a woman who's considered the mother of Thanksgiving. Her name is Sarah Joseph Hale, and she's actually the creator of the song Mary Had a Little Lamb. She spent 17 years writing to Congress wanting to instate Thanksgiving as a holiday. And it was President Lincoln that proclaimed it 240 years later.
I guess I have Sarah to thank for all of this. Those were interesting facts.
Yeah. Other weird ones is technically the turkey was not the food that they had on the original Thanksgiving. They think it was a bunch of seafood.
Ugh. I'm so sorry for you guys. Other fun fact, this morning has been a snake-bitten one.
Oh, it's been awful for us.
Bad luck all morning. We won't go into details, but it's been a ride.
It has been so rough.
Has anyone else had a rough morning? I want to hear about it in the comments. It might make me feel better.
Timstradamus doesn't want to be alone. So, for new listeners, we dive into the wild world of Am I the A-Hole stories. Get ready for stories that are packed with drama, twists, and moral dilemmas that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. So whether you're here to judge or just enjoy the chaos, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join our community of story enthusiasts. Now, let's see who's right and who's, well, maybe not so much so.
Well, Voyse?
Well, Timstradamus.
It looks like you just poured milk in a cup.
Oh, fancy. It is actually a tea, and it's a tea that I've been enjoying throughout my pregnancy because, man, constipation's a real thing when you're pregnant. It's barley tea with some cream and honey.
Yep.
Oh, wow. You don't like it?
It tastes like coffee.
That's the reason why I like the barley tea.
Got you. I'm not a fan of coffee.
Maybe I should have added just a little more cream to make it look like milk and tell you it's milk.
No, it's great.
Well, while you go ahead and, try and enjoy that tea, I'm going to have it later, that's for sure. Why don't we go ahead and delve into these stories? For any of our listeners wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. Can't wait for my second cup of barley tea now. For our first story, am I the a-hole for walking out on my son's kindergarten play because my wife wouldn't shut up? Today, my 32 male son's 5 male kindergarten had a little play. It was a short story involving a bunch of bunnies, giraffes, and sheep. My son, Kevin, was one of the giraffes. I was looking forward to it all week, but I was also anxious because my wife, Claire, 31 female, tends to get very bad when we're in front of other people. She'll often become aggressive, short-tempered, and will be incredibly rude towards me. I think she does it performatively because she thinks it makes her look cool. Anyway, Claire and I arrived early to get front row seats in their small auditorium. First, as we waited, Claire began by putting her bag and other belongings on the 2 seats next to her. I had to get her to put them under her chair because other people might want to sit there. She accosted me because, of course I know that. I was going to move them when it got crowded. Then she began setting up a camera on a tripod on top of the seat, which would have obstructed the view of anyone else behind us. Luckily, one of the teachers there asked her nicely to take it down. Unfortunately, this put Claire in a foul mood, and I knew she would be taking it out on me eventually. The performance started, and our son did a great job, but he had a little giraffe hat on with a cord to go under his chin, and he put the cord in his mouth during the play. Claire would simply not shut up about this. As all the parents took videos, she was constantly saying things like, "I told him not to chew on it," and "Kevin, take the cord out of your mouth." I could tell other parents were getting irritated with her because her voice was getting on their video of their children. I lightly suggested in a whisper, "Hey, other people are taking videos. I don't think Kevin can hear you anyway. Claire did not take this well. She began loudly ranting to herself. She would repeat things like, God, I want him to shut the fuck up, and mock my voice with, Kevin can't hear you. Over time, she gradually got louder and louder. Finally, when I was pretty sure Kevin's part in the play was done, I stood up and walked out. I waited in the car. Claire and Kevin came out about 20 minutes later. She opened the door and immediately began tearing into me about abandoning her and Kevin. When I responded that she was embarrassing me, she began sulking and ranting about how she's such an embarrassment to her family. I don't know what I could have done better. Should I have handled this differently? Am I the a-hole?
Emotional damage.
So much of it.
Good story to get us kicked off with. So we got a couple. Both are in their 30s, and their son is 5. They're going to a play. That's about where the good times end for this story. Because we have a partner that's okay with demeaning and chastising someone in public. Don't get me wrong, you shouldn't be doing that in private either. But to do it in front of others in that manner shows that there's zero respect at all in that relationship. Based off how he says his wife conducts herself throughout this, I guess, play. I mean, even from the start, she's putting down items 2 seats across from her. You know, for a lot of parents who want to record, normally the etiquette is to get up into at least the aisle or go to the back. Put up your tripod, set up whatever you need to so that way you can catch those moments.
Or stand on the side where you're not in front of other people.
There's plenty of ways to navigate that without putting other people at odds who did come for the same reason as you, to see their kids. But to not think about your impact on the area you're in is selfish. You can already see where she's at. She's selfish and she's disrespectful. Who would want to put up with that type of partner?
I wouldn't.
Especially on an evening where you're seeing a play with your kid. He is devastatingly correct when he points out that everyone is listening to her rant on the recordings that they're making of their children. You don't get those moments back. Now, maybe with editing today, could you edit out her voice? Sometimes you can, but like not every parent has either the access to that type of technology
or time to learn it.
Yeah, but for you to not see that you're having an impact on everyone else's experience is interesting at 32 or however old she is. Honestly, it kind of sounds like this is probably par for the course. When they're in public, she turns on something else and he says bad. That is a very interesting word to describe what happens with his wife. I'm not certain if it's how she was treated or if it's like a power play for her to make sure she demeans her partner in front of others.
There are people in relationships that like to do that.
It's devastating to watch that happen in public because you can only imagine what it's like behind closed doors.
Well, what I find interesting here is he says this only seems to happen when they're in front of other people, not when they're alone.
Which is why I said maybe this has more to do about making it look as if you have the power and the control.
That makes sense.
But why would that need to even be brandished in public? That just looks like an unhealthy person being irrational. He's asking if he's the a-hole for walking out after he figures his son's no longer playing a role in the play.
Correct.
Honestly, no. Because you could have definitely escalated that problem. Had you not been the more adult partner in this situation? Because I know a lot of people that if that smoke had started, they're more than happy to ante up to the situation.
That's very true, and I know we've seen that before.
Oh, yes. So I'm happy he had the presence of mind to not make that about himself. He removed himself from the situation because he didn't want to feel any more of the abuse. I can't blame someone for that. I think the heartbreaking part here for him is, as he's trying to make the situation at least copacetic for everyone else around them, he knows that by doing that, he's going to get an earful when the event is done.
And he did.
She did not hold back. We're doing this in front of our 5-year-old right after he got done with something that's supposed to be kind of a little milestone, right? You did a play, it's probably for some holiday or whatever it was, right? We're supposed to be happy.
It's supposed to be about Kevin and his achievements for going up there and doing this fun play at the age of 5.
Your wife sounds like she needs to go talk to somebody. If she's displaying those type of behavioral shifts in public, I would question that. And as your family grows older, you're going to be doing more things in public. Like there are more events for you and your kids. So maybe go ahead and get an early step on that because that's unacceptable. Whether it was from the father or the mother. OP, you're not the a-hole.
So the consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. For many Redditors, this is an extremely abusive relationship. They either need a lot of counseling or to get a divorce. Aside from those choices, there was awareness that our OP's actions, or essentially inactions, are showing their son what is and isn't acceptable in a relationship, and that is not acceptable. The fact that you would have one parent in the car that's essentially berating another one in front of their 5-year-old, rather than praising and having a good time about a fun event that this 5-year-old did, I think really truly hit a lot of people to heart when it comes to their own experiences based on the comments. Now, we do have an update from our OP. So let me go ahead and read that now. I want to preface this update with an expression of gratitude to everyone who gave me advice. I received direct messages from a startling number of men who have dated or married a woman with similar issues as Claire. As one of these messages led to a conversation, and something the commenter said really resonated with me, he told me that in his case, his wife doesn't really understand the concept of guilt. She doesn't understand phrases like, "You made me feel sad when you said X," or "The way you treated me hurt my feelings." He eventually came to an epiphany that while trying to make her understand guilt and feelings was a waste of time, she actually had a good grasp on shame, and he was able to leverage that against her. My next run-in with Claire happened when we went out to dinner 2 weeks after Kevin's play. We went to Cheesecake Factory. The problem that night began when I ordered an appetizer first, which caused Claire to immediately call me a fucking selfish idiot. I was apparently supposed to go Kevin's order, Claire's order, appetizer, and then my order. Now, before, I would usually just fix my mistake to disarm Claire, but this time I calmly responded, "You're embarrassing yourself and making everyone uncomfortable." Claire began showing her typical pre-tantrum signs, face going red, shaking, and while she let me finish ordering after the waitress walked away, she whisper shouted about how terrible of a human being I was. I responded in a neutral but audible voice. "The people at the tables around us are starting to stare. You look unhinged. Do we need to take our order to go, or are you going to behave?" As predicted, Claire decided to double down and cause a scene. I flagged the waitress down and said that we would be taking our order to go. Now, at this point, Claire refused to move from the booth, so I simply gathered Kevin and then walked out on her, picking our food up from the takeout counter. Long story made short, Kevin and I ate in the car overlooking a canyon, watched some movies, and went home. Claire came home later, announced she was leaving because I abandoned her, and I eagerly helped her pack. Claire is staying at her parents' house, where Kevin has visited her a few times. We only communicate through text now. I refuse to answer her calls, but she has admitted that being with me stresses her out so much that she acts like she wouldn't normally. I know, but I'll take it. We're going to get divorced and co-parent Kevin. I wish Claire well, but that woman is a disaster through and through.
Okay, well, at least there was a resolution to the problem. I wonder what Claire's referring to when she says that ROP has made it to where she's high-strung in public and is this way. There's a lot in that relationship we'll never know about, but I wonder what's contributed to this whole mess where he had to basically talk down to her as a child in public because she was acting like a child. I am not saying that he was in the wrong for trying to show her, but obviously those are escalators.
Oh, definitely.
You weren't going to get conflict resolution out of that, especially because you know she's one of those type of people that will ante up. He says it. He's like, I know that when I say this, this is the outcome. So you did it anyway. That wasn't a good solution to that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't show people the errors of their ways. But what I am saying is when we understand that that route will only have that type of outcome, we can try others. But it sounds like this has already come to a head, and it's probably what's best for everyone. The only person I feel bad for here is the child.
I think that I'll add to that. I'm really happy that OP is getting this divorce. This wasn't a good relationship. Clearly, it was abusive on the wife's part. And my biggest problem when it came to this update is, OP, you need to be careful. Talking down to your partner, treating them like a child, and trying to use feelings as a potential weapon is really wrong and manipulative. And a lot of the times, like, I truly can empathize with being abused. I think in some way, shape, and form, there's always a person out there that's been abused, whether it's been physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. We've experienced one kind or the other, sometimes all of them. And it can be so detrimental to who you are as a person. It either becomes where you are a shell of yourself, or you become and you take on traits of your abuser. That can easily twist you, and you can go from being someone who was victimized to someone who becomes the abuser. Yep. Because you're afraid of being in that situation again.
By the way, I'm not certain how everyone else does it. Not that it matters to me how we do it, but we've always ordered the appetizers before we had orders placed. If we were doing appetizers at whatever we were eating at that day.
Yeah, a lot of the times when you and I have ever decided to order an appetizer, it's because I'm still trying to look over the menu.
It's weird how she would have that type of control tick.
What I find interesting is that our OP has to be last. But we're not in that relationship. Regardless, I do not find the actions of OP's wife to be kosher in the first one and the second one. I'm just providing very, I guess you can say, heartfelt advice regarding our OP on the second one. Just be careful that you don't start turning into the person that you try to get away from. Well, let's go on to our next story. And this is a story about a Thanksgiving dinner. So let's get right into it. Gobble, gobble. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom to stop playing the victim and ruining Thanksgiving? My mom and I have always had a strained relationship. Growing up, I learned early that everything had to be about her needs, her feelings. I was expected to manage my emotions around her, tiptoeing through every interaction to keep the peace. If something didn't go her way, she'd somehow twist the situation until she was the one hurt, the one who'd done everything right and was never appreciated. I hated the way it made me feel. But I told myself that one day I'd have a chance to set boundaries, to live my life without walking on eggshells. But as an adult, nothing's really changed. I still find myself anxiously checking my tone, weighing every word before I speak, just to keep her from making herself the victim. This year, I decided to host Thanksgiving for the family, and I promised myself it'd be a peaceful day. My mom could come, but I'd focus on keeping things calm. No drama. Things were fine at first. My dad was cracking jokes. Everyone was catching up. And I started to think maybe this time would be different. Then, as we sat down to eat, my mom started in. First, it was small jabs and comments about how I never call, how I'm always too busy for her. I tried to brush them off. But then she moved on to bigger things, saying how family means so much to her, but she feels like she's the only one who cares. That's when she launched into her usual spiel about how much she's sacrificed, how no one appreciates her, and how she's such a good mother who's never shown gratitude. I could feel my blood start to boil. I tried to hold my tongue, but I couldn't do it. I snapped and said, "Mom, you really need to stop playing the victim. It's exhausting, and it's why we don't get along." The room went dead silent. She sat there, shocked, before her face crumpled and she started crying. She called me cruel, heartless, and said I'd ruined Thanksgiving. She said she'd only ever tried to love me, but I was too selfish to see it. She stormed out, and my dad followed her, giving me a sad look, like he knew this was coming but couldn't do anything about it. Now the family is completely divided. Some of my relatives have called me to say they understand, that she needed to hear it, but others think I was heartless and that I could have been kinder and more tactful. They keep saying she's my mother and that one day I'll regret speaking to her this way, but a part of me feels like I had to say it. If I didn't draw a line now, I'd be stuck in this cycle forever. I'm conflicted because I never wanted to hurt her, especially not on Thanksgiving. I just couldn't keep pretending her behavior was okay. She refuses to see her role in our issues, and I'm tired of always being the one who has to accommodate her feelings. So, am I the a-hole for finally telling her the truth, even if it hurt her?
Your mother lives atop a throne of lies. Unfortunately, I think I think a lot of people probably have this type of person in their family or life. Doesn't have to be a family member. It could be a friend. The victimhood complex is something that's, I wholeheartedly believe it's a poison that once entered into your mind is hard to get rid of. It really drains people around that type of person.
Oh, you've seen it firsthand with me and my own mother.
It's a life-sucking force that unless you confront it head on, it will not change. Letting it go on the way this family does. Because it sounds like you're surrounded by a bunch of enablers. Shaming people while at family gatherings isn't fun. The fact that your father gave you a knowing look as he's, I guess, ushering your mother out of the room tells you enough about that entire situation.
I wonder how many times he's had to deal with that sort of victimhood if he did anything that was strictly out of line.
The room takes on a different feeling when that type of presence is in it.
And they're essentially energy vampires. They just suck at your youth and your happiness.
So, in my opinion, OP, you would not be the a-hole. The way you handled that situation was direct and blunt. Sure, is there a time and a place to have conversations that are like that? Yeah, would I have gone about it in that manner? Probably not. But you weren't really given a choice. This is something that this person has exhibited throughout however many holidays and get-togethers and family occasions you guys have had. It was just the time. Although, I see myself as a little mouse in the corner, eating my cheese, and hearing that comment pop off.
Oh, you would be enjoying your meal at that point.
I would take my food out of this establishment.
So the consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. By the way, I did confirm that this is a Canadian Thanksgiving. And this had many Redditors coming forward with their own understanding of this type of person in their lives. Truly, the truth really is a bitter pill for people to swallow who are essentially narcissists. Additionally, a lot of Redditors came forward and said choosing your own family to spend time with can be very healthy, as well as rather than forcing yourself to deal with toxic individuals for the sake of familial obligations. Redditors also pointed out that OP was hosting a Thanksgiving dinner to give thanks to everyone, not just OP's mom. Just figured I would spotlight that thought. It sounds like OP really needs to go low contact with their mother. It doesn't sound like she's a very good person. And maybe they have already started doing it, which is why the mother was harping about, you don't call me, we don't talk. And gosh, it's so hard when you have individuals that make it all about themselves. They'll never understand the reasons why, even if you point blank explained it, just like our OP did.
It's very true.
Now let's go on to our next story and see what you think about some childish, vindictive qualities in a partner.
I think we've already heard a couple of those now.
Oh, this one's particularly it.
Let's go.
Am I the a-hole for calling my girlfriend childish and telling her to leave after she intentionally destroyed a gift that I got for my little sister? My girlfriend, Megan, and I stay together. She had a fight with her parents and asked if we could move in together, so we did. Not too long ago, I had to take my little sister in. I can't disclose much, except the fact that I was her only option. When we had the talk about me having to take my sister in, Megan did not like the idea. She told me that I was too young to have such a responsibility. What will happen when we get married and have our own kids? Our place was too small, etc., but didn't outright say she had an issue with it. I obviously couldn't turn my back on my sister, so I went ahead with it despite her reservations. Although my sister has always been friendly to Megan from the moment she met her, Megan is just indifferent, and it sucks because my sister really admires her and enjoys talking to her. I just thought maybe they don't connect because of my sister's age. A month ago, I bought my sister a Switch. She has always wanted one and all her friends have it. I figured she deserved it as she does well at school, helps with chores, and is generally a well-behaved kid. She loved it, and she has been taking good care of it. Megan wasn't happy when I bought it. She actually sulked. She would borrow the Switch insistently, and my sister would not say no because she was afraid to. But Megan would use it so much that it felt like it belonged to her. My sister never said anything. She would just patiently wait for her turn. Sometimes Megan would use it even when my sister was at school, saying that she gets bored when I'm at work. All this made me uncomfortable, so I asked her to please tone down on the switch, as it's unfair on my sister. It was her gift. Megan agreed, although it was clear that she was upset. She gave us the silent treatment for the rest of the night. Last week, when I came back from picking up my sister from school after work, we found her switch broken. And that's putting it lightly. It looked like it was deliberately smashed. My sister was distraught. When I asked Megan what the frick happened, she told us that she accidentally dropped it and it broke. It was obvious that she was lying, and when I pointed that out and all the other times where she seemed to have an issue with an 11-year-old for no reason, she got annoyed and told me that everything was fine until my sister moved in. I called her childish and asked her to please pack her bags and go to her parents' house because I need space and time to think. This only made her more annoyed, but she eventually left. Her best friend texted me last night to tell me that I was an a-hole for kicking Megan out because on top of everything else, I know how rocky her relationship with her parents are. Does this make me an a-hole?
What a spicy meatball!
It's an angry spicy meatball.
That is a frustrating story. He doesn't tell us their ages, but we do hear that his sister that he's taken in is 11. It sounds like our OP is a good person because not only did he take in his sister, but he also took in his girlfriend who was going through problems with her parents.
And just to add out there, in OP's comments, they say that they're the only ones that's working.
That's what my next question was going to be when he says that she's at home with the Switch. So Megan's not working. We don't know how old they are. But Megan wants to start talking about how big an impact an 11-year-old is on their lives when she's not contributing in any meaningful way. That sounds like that type of person. When you're more concerned about the relationship between your partner and someone else, you're doing it wrong. You're dealing with, again, I think there's a running theme here, narcissism, and it's thick.
Like molasses.
You broke a switch because you were jealous that your boyfriend bought something for his 11-year-old sister.
Because she was good at school and did her chores and is well behaved.
What a waste of time and energy that is to have held that type of jealousy against an 11-year-old. Megan is immature. Megan needs some time to grow up. OP, you're not the a-hole. Good on you for seeing the writing on the wall here, though.
I agree. I find it interesting because you know that OP is probably fairly close in age when it comes to his sibling. I'm assuming that our OP is probably either the late teens, anything over 18, or very early 20s. For them to be aware that this is happening and trying to fix it in a way that is very difficult, I think, for younger people to truly have the hands-on grasp without a relationship becoming so detrimentally abusive is one of those very fine lines. I'm actually fairly proud of OP when it comes to that.
Has good boundaries. Said, I just need you to pack your stuff up and leave for a little while. That's fantastic. You don't owe that person space, especially if they're going to be disrespectful and break things that they did not buy.
For my mind, if somebody's willing to do that, what other things are they willing to do to an 11-year-old? Because it sounds like this 11-year-old is probably very introverted. And if they actually got abused, either verbally or physically, I wonder if they would keep quiet just to keep the peace.
I mean, you see it through her being willing to share her Switch with someone and basically almost have, it sounds like zero time on this thing when it was a gift to her for just being a good person. What was Megan doing? Outside of sitting there stewing about a relationship between siblings.
Because I'm bored.
Megan's got some growing up to do. And hopefully this is an eye-opener for her. OP, you're not the a-hole.
The consensus on Reddit are OP's not the a-hole. For Redditors, the fact that OP's girlfriend is vindictive and selfish, well, OP and his sister definitely deserve better. Many were asking what OP's girlfriend was contributing, which is, of course, where we get the answer that she wasn't contributing anything. Some Redditors said, consider this a blessing. You actually get to see somebody's true colors before they really decide to stay in your life and you're able to walk away. Now, we do have an update from our OP.
Let's go.
So let's get right into that. I just wanted to write an update on what happened after I posted. When I kicked Megan out, I already knew that there was no way our relationship could continue. After reading the comments on the post, I knew that I needed to officially end the relationship and not leave things hanging. I only said to her I needed time to think because I wanted her to leave without a fuss. She had already caused enough trouble. I hadn't spoken to her since what happened because I was ignoring her texts, some of them telling me that she missed me and wanted to come back home. I decided to text her to arrange a meeting. She told me to come over to her friend's place because she only stayed a few days at her parents' place. When I got to her friend's place, I told Megan that the relationship is not working out for me and it's best that we break up. I said I don't see myself getting over the fact that she intentionally destroyed something that meant a lot to my sister over her irrational jealousy. Not to mention that she never really opened up to my sister, which should have been enough for me to end the relationship then. My sister deserves to be around someone who is willing to form a relationship with her. I had the rest of her stuff and proceeded to give them to her. She started crying and pleading, then accusing me of choosing my sister over her. I clearly never really loved her. She knew that this would happen after my sister moved in. I just said to her, "This is exactly why I'm breaking up with you." I also told her that she really needed to reimburse me the $300 for the Switch that she accidentally dropped because my little sister is heartbroken over it and has been sad about it ever since. She rolled her eyes and told me that she already said it was an accident and that it's not her problem anyway since I don't want to be with her anymore. I didn't feel like continuing to argue with her, so I told her to never contact me again and left. When I got home, I blocked her everywhere. I am relieved that she is out of our lives, but I'm very disappointed in myself that it took something so drastic for me to see that Megan was not a good person.
Don't be disappointed in yourself, Opie. This is a good learning experience. How do you know what you don't know?
That's very true.
The fact that she didn't leave more trauma or impacts on your guys' lives is the winning sauce here.
I can't believe, and it just irks me. I'm always the person that if I should ever break something or do something where I have to reimburse someone else for it, just because she's no longer with this person, that it leaves her without any onus to paying them back. It just shows the character that Megan is in this story.
100%.
You're scum, and people that are like you are scummish. So I'm really glad that OP is able to start picking up on the traits that they would like to have in a partner, or at least the red flags that they can go ahead and start watching out for now. The one thing that Redditors did suggest to OP, though, is they said, since your ex has proven to be so vindictive, make sure to change your locks.
I'm just happy that story had a good ending.
Me too. Well, let's go on to our very last story and see what you think about, well, this is an older Reddit story, but I think it's very interesting. Male 31. I think I killed my girlfriend's female 27 cat, and it ran off with my engagement ring. Throwaway. My girlfriend loves Reddit more than me. My girlfriend loves cats. Obsessed. Not in a creepy way. Otherwise, I would have hightailed it out the door a long time ago. She never got to have a cat when she was a little girl because her brother was allergic. So her whole childhood, she waited until she was an adult so she could have a cat. She got a black kitten when she was in college and has had it ever since. It's her best friend. Not going to give the name or gender. Don't want to give too much away in case she finds this. Anyway, we've been dating a few years and I've decided to propose. I had this whole idea about sneaking into her apartment before she got home, tying the ring to the cat's collar, and when she got there, she'd find the ring on the cat and I'd jump out and propose. Well, when I got there, I guess I left the door open because I searched everywhere in this tiny apartment and the cat is nowhere to be found. It's an indoor cat, declawed, and has never been outside before. My girlfriend always says if the cat got out, she'd kill herself because the cat would surely die, hoping she was joking. The worst part is, I tied the damn ring to the damn cat before it escaped. So, somewhere, there's a lost cat with a $6,000 engagement ring around its neck. My girlfriend comes home in 2 hours. If she comes home to no cat, I honestly think she'd break up with me. This cat means everything to her. I feel so bad. I've been jingling the treat bag and calling its name for the past hour, and it hasn't come back. We visit a cat shelter at the mall sometimes, and she always says one of the cats looks exactly like her cat. I was thinking about running out and buying that one to replace hers until, if it comes back, but that might be too crazy. I'm freaking out. If this cat doesn't come back, not only have I lost a ring, I'll make my girlfriend severely unhappy. The too long don't read. Try to propose to my girlfriend by tying the ring to its collar. The cat escaped and my girlfriend will be home soon. What to do?
What to do? Bro. We buy a bunch of cat food. We walk around the streets. Here, please. 6K? A ring you got attached to the cat? Is there you said this is an old story, so there's got to be an update.
There are updates.
Okay, let's go on the saga.
So our OP says edit, still no cat.
Oh.
Girlfriend will be home soon. Considering calling her and telling her everything, but I think I might just wait until she gets here. Freaking out.
Oh, he's giving us these updates in 4K.
Thanks for the responses. Yes.
Oh no.
Edit 2. The cat is declawed because it had a scratching problem as a kitten. Split my girlfriend's cheek and scarred her. I assure you my girlfriend is not a monster.
Decline cat sucks, by the way.
It does. It's no different than pulling nails from people. Your body still tries to grow them. It just grows very wrong.
It's terrible and I wish it would stop.
So there's another update. Our OP says, don't really know how updates work here, so I'll post this here. Still no sign of the cat. My girlfriend came home from work last night, and to my surprise, when I explained everything, she was really calm about the situation. I guess the cat has gotten out before. She never told me this. And it came back a few days later. She's still beside herself with worry, but thankfully she didn't blame me. We were out for a while last night looking for the cat, but no luck. Getting up early to try again this morning, but she's hopeful the cat will be waiting outside the door like last time. Thank you for all the responses. I didn't get the chance to update last night because we were searching for the cat, but I really appreciate it. I've been looking through the options a lot of you have suggested, as well as stuff online, and I hope it helps. To the people who have been chastising my girlfriend for declawing the cat, I asked her why she did. I admit I'm not an expert on cat-related matters, and she actually started crying and said she regretted it. She was a mess the entire time the cat was in the vet, and I guess her mom put serious pressure on her to do it after it scratched her face open. She was in college when she got the kitten, so I guess she wasn't allowed to keep it unless she got it declawed. I can see it's a hot topic in some of the comments, but believe me, my girlfriend has provided a really loving home for the cat and probably loves it more than me. Her mother can be incredibly controlling. Believe me, I know this to be true, but thank you all. I'll try to update you if or when we find the cat. Also, didn't get around to telling her about the proposal, so that's one thing she still doesn't know about. If the cat comes back without the ring or doesn't come back, it's more important that the cat has been found for her. Now, a couple days later, we have one last update from our OP.
Please be good.
Hey everyone. First off, thank you so much for your responses and private messages. There were so many helpful suggestions and tips about cats that I didn't even know about. So thanks for that. Kitty came back early this morning. The apartment my girlfriend lives in has a porch under the front steps, and when she went to take the trash out, the cat came out of the porch. I don't believe it was under there the whole time or not. Believe me, I checked thoroughly. But it was covered in muck and dirt and wet from the rain we've had. My girlfriend instantly started crying and took the cat in to wash it down. She played hooky from work because she was so damn happy the cat was safe. No ring. Must have fallen off the cat when it was running around. The string I used to tie it was still on the collar by some miracle. And my girlfriend noticed, so I had to explain. She was already pretty emotional from finding the cat. So when I told her I was going to propose, she kind of did a weird laugh/giggle/sob sort of deal. It was adorable. but also really sad. I wish I could have been able to give her that ring, and I will be eternally kicking myself for being so freaking dumb. So I got down on a knee and asked, promising I'd get her a ring as soon as I could afford to. She said yes, and then we both started crying. Then she looked me dead in the eye and said something like, the next time you think about doing something stupid, just don't. So I guess I learned my lesson. I lost the ring, but more importantly, Kitty is back safe and sound and clean. And I now have the most amazing fiance known to mankind. I'm not going to call myself the luckiest guy in the world for obvious reasons, but I'm the happiest sap on earth right now. Thanks again, everyone. And to the people who said this sounded like a sitcom, if any of you end up or are being TV writers, I expect to see an episode dedicated to me. The Too Long Don't Read, found the cat, no ring, but I'm now happily engaged.
And that's what matters at the end of the day. You can't replace love. You can't replace respect. You can't replace health. And it sounds like you guys have all that, including the cat.
Minus the ring.
Minus the 6K ring.
While it's not about the physical stuff, you can still feel that little bit of a gut punch.
Oh, sure. Those are the best type of proposals when people do it like near the beach, or because ours was on a beach, but I made sure we weren't coming in contact with the water, or on boats, or when people precariously perch themselves on rocks and you see the guy get down on the knee, and then every single time they fumble it and it falls, and you're just like, yep, there goes the ring.
You ain't getting that back.
It's so rough. In this case, he lost it from the cat. I'd be looking under the porch where you found him. Because they said the string was on, but the ring was not attached to the string, right?
Correct.
How's that possible?
It could have been just that it was niched under the collar.
Okay, yeah, I guess.
And that the part where the ring was on was just off. It depends on how fuzzy the cat is, too.
I'd put that cat on a leash and I'd make him walk me where he walked for the last however many days he was gone.
Tell me where you went now.
We are going to retrace your steps.
This reminded me of when you, me, and our son went to Big Bear, and I thought I lost my wedding ring.
Oh, yeah. It was on our cabin trip.
Yeah.
That was terrifying.
Dude, I was so heartbroken. I found the 2 pieces because it's a little 3-piece thing. And to me, it represents our past, present, and future together. And man, when our son found that last band, oh, the relief.
I'll paint the picture. We were packing all our stuff because we stayed in an Airbnb cabin situation. And it was the last day. I think we had spent, 3 days there? And we were getting ready to go because we had stayed there with my brother and his wife. So everyone was getting the car packed up and we were ready to roll. And then Voyse starts looking around quietly at first. And I couldn't understand because she was going to different parts of the cabin that we had not been to. And then she reveals she lost her wedding ring.
I looked down at my hand and one of the bands were gone. And I'm like, we've been packing up everything. My hands have been in all of our stuff. There's no guarantee it would be under the couch or it would be in a bag.
We flipped that cabin upside down for almost, 45 minutes. And we had just finally come to terms with maybe we just
don't.
Yep, we lost. It's just a ring at the end of the day. We'll replace it. It is what it is. And we were about to start heading out.
And then our son took my purse. And of course, with my permission, he said, Mom, can I empty out, look through your purse? And I said, yeah, go ahead. I had no hope, by the way. And when he found that ring, my precious son found the one last ring. Oh, I can't tell you how relieved I was.
Yeah,
I've been self-conscious about that ring ever since.
One of those moments. It was very funny. And then right after that, I told him to go pick up the dog poo in the back.
He's all like, dude, I love you. And unfortunately, we still have to get things going. And your task is to pick up the dog poo because we decided to take one of our dogs with us.
It wasn't his only reward. Okay. We rewarded him for finding your ring, but we had to do stuff. I still had to pack the car.
It was just funny because you were just like, Bud, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I didn't do it lightly.
Your brother, he gave you so much for that. He's like, I can't believe you did that.
We had to get on the road. I love our son. We laughed. I think what we ended up getting him
something with Legos, I thought at that time.
I don't know. I knew we thanked him for helping us find the ring.
It's such a memorable moment. I
Yes.
think it's one of my key moments, because I had given up on ever finding the band and just being okay that it's just an item. And he did not give up. I truly appreciate it.
Our son is persistent.
Love it about him. He's very smart. We're very lucky.
And speaking about our son, we forgot to say this. I mean, I don't know why we would, but I guess we get to brag about him a little bit. We've already been doing that.
Yes.
His band just took state.
Number
senior
one.
year.
Saw the big trophy. Yeah. Bam, 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 bam.
Anyway, enough about us.
That was our last story.
Was that?
That was.
Good way to end it off. I always love hearing people realize that, all right, yeah, it was 6K, but there's a lot more to life than items. If you have found somebody that makes you happy and the animal is also healthy and safe, then that's more than any 6K ring can ever give you.
I think that it's great that she was so understanding.
Oh, yeah.
She's all like, look, I didn't want to tell you before, but the cat actually ran out one other time. I have faith that this cat will come back.
I can see her gripping his face. Don't be stupid next time.
And the cat's like, I lost your ring, meow.
Well, as our stories come to a close, don't forget, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. We regularly post on Mondays and Wednesdays. And we have our Damas After Dark back on Fridays.
Yes, they are.
It's so weird. We would also love to thank all of our Patreons for your continued support.
Yes, we love and appreciate every single one of y'all.
Mwah, mwah.
And as always, listeners, we look forward to hearing your opinions in the comments below. What did you think about the stories today?
They were a bit self-centered and narcissistic, if you ask me.
Oh, you peppered them all in there.
I figure if people wanted to be the, what was it that they like to call? The main character in the story, the main character can still be a piece of garbage.
And remember, if you post it, maybe we'll see it on the internet.
All right, well, time to hand me that teeth and you don't like it, you know.
Yeah, it's yours.